Hello everyone. In this session we will understand Java interface, and this is quite a useful feature of Java, and it provides the contract for class. So you can think like that interface is a high level diagram of any building or house, and class is a detailed implementation of that high level diagram of house, and object is a physical implementation of that house. So again I am repeating, interface is a high level diagram, just it declare the things, how should be there, it should have room, it should have stairs, it should have balcony, kind of thing at high level, and class implement those things in details. Based on that, physical house can be constructed, and object is an example of that physical house. So that's the thing. So in Java, interface is a contract of class, and it can be implemented by the class, and at the same time one class can implement multiple interface. But in case of class, you know that Java does not allow multiple inheritance with classes. Means suppose we have three class A, B and C. So class C cannot extend class A and B at once. Means at the same time you cannot extend A and B. But in case of interface, suppose we have a class A and we have two interfaces B and C, then class A can implement class B and interface B and C at once. So indirectly we can say that interfaces allow multiple inheritance in Java. This is one thing. Another thing is that interface basically provide 100% abstraction. Means that it has only abstract method. Means in this we just define the contract, whereas in case of abstract class it is a partial implementation of concrete class. Means that abstract class can have some abstract method and some non-abstract instance method, static method kind of thing. But interface has only abstract method, and in Java 9 onward, interface now can also have a static, default and private method. Means default method, again I am repeating, interface can have abstract method, default method, private method and static method. And these, especially these three methods which have body, like private method, static method and default method, must have body. Means inside this we provide some common implementation for other classes. But public method, no, it will be non-static and non-default. So that method, that abstract method implementation is provided by concrete classes or abstract class as well. And interface has some other properties as well. If you declare any variable in interface, interface by default all variables convert into public static final. Means in interface you can have only constant, because you know that in Java to declare the constant there is a way. If you mark any variable final, then it becomes constant, means it cannot be reinitialized. It can be initialized only once, first time at the time of declare, and second way is that under constructor. But interface does not have constructor. So there are some differences. So 2-3 major differences I am explaining. First thing is that interface provide the contract of classes. An interface cannot have constructor. Interface object cannot be created. By default all variables are constant. Means if you declare suppose any variable, suppose int a, then under the hood JVM will add public static final int a. Even explicitly you can declare public static final, or just simply you can declare int a. Then under the hood means both are same for Java, because once JVM will compile the code, it will convert into the state, means constant, means anything is static and final, that is constant. So JVM marks everything, all variables in constant. So interface can have variable, but it must be constant, means all variable will be public static final only. Means you cannot have private or protected variable in interface. Another thing is that it may quite surprising for you, protected keyword cannot be used in interface, either variable or method. But other keyword access modifier, you know that there are 4 access modifier like public, protected, private and default. But in interface protected cannot be used. Another thing, default, if you don't declare any 3 keyword like protected, protected of course will not use. But if you don't mark anything like private or public, then it will be usually considered default in other classes or interface. But sorry, not interface, other class or abstract class, means no concrete class and abstract class. But in interface default is implicitly converted into public, means by default everything in interface is public, either variable or method. This is most important thing to understand. Another thing, as we have already said, that interface can have public static method, it can have public default method, it can have private method, and of course it can also have abstract method. But to declare abstract method in interface, you don't need to use abstract keyword like abstract class. So by default here again JVM add the abstract keyword before any method which does not have body in interface. Like you can see here, like here void sound. So JVM implicitly will add abstract. Even you can mark it here like abstract void sound, or just you can just mention void sound, or another way you can mark like abstract public void sound, all are same. So this is the important thing about interface. So we will understand through the example. So I am moving to IntelliJ. So you can see here again I have already discussed that interface has some properties and some features. So I have already discussed that. So I am directly moving to one examples like animal. So here we have one interface animal and it has method just sound, and other class concrete class just implemented animal. One thing also you should know, to extend any interface in class you have to use implements keyword. But if you want to use any superclass in subclass, then for this Java uses extend keyword. So there is a difference. If you want to provide the implementation of any interface, then you must have to use implement keywords. And if you have to implement any abstract class method or any concrete superclass method, then you have to use extends keyword. Here it's like that, extend, but it will currently give error because animal is your interface. But suppose animal, if you declare like class, then abstract class, basically abstract here. So if you declare any class abstract, then you can use this one. And also in abstract class, you know that abstract keyword is mandatory. So suppose you have abstract class, then you have to use extend or for any concrete class as well. I am just roll back the things and making the things undo. Okay, now change it to, so now it's a original implementation. So now I'm moving further. So dog here implemented animal, and this dog has some name, breed and all other things. So but important thing is that here we provide the implementation of sound. So and here I have used this override keyword, and this is optional, you can remove it, it will work the same way. But this is also has some significance. If you use override keyword with any method, then that method must be belong to superclass or any interfaces. Means just it must be belong to super class or interface. So that's the thing, but it's optional, it's not mandatory. Another thing, same kite implemented animal, and it has some other properties like name, age, and it also implemented. So if you don't provide the implementation of sound, then compiler will not allow, it means JVM will gives you error. So all abstract class means method should be implemented by the concrete class. Like here cat and dogs are examples of concrete class, and cow, you can take a number of examples. And here I have a animal interface, and we have created the object for dog, cat, cow, but you cannot create the object for animal, it will give error, because we have already said that interface and abstract class cannot have object, means you cannot use the new keyword. So now I am running this program, so it will print simply like A1, A2, A3, means A1, A2, A3 are the reference of animal, but A1 contains dog object, A2 contains cat, and A3 contains cow object, so it will print like that. So last A3 will call this method. So you can see here Ganga the cow says like that, whatever you want to print, it will print. Another details examples of interface is there. I have already written for you in advance. It will contain everything. So this is the main class, and I have a payment gateway interface which has some common things. In this we have included everything like variable. So here I have a suppose company name, a string company name. So by default it is like public static final. So it is equivalent and it's optional. You cannot even means you don't need to use this keyword. You can see here ID mark, IntelliJ ID mark it in gray means that it's not mandatory to mention that, because under the hood JVM marks this one like public static void, so it's totally optional. But you cannot mark any variable like protected or private, it's not allowed. But public and default is allowed, but default will be converted into ultimately public static final. So that's the thing. Here you can see that all three variables are default because there is no such keyword. So it is considered as default in any concrete class or abstract class. Another thing, I have an abstract method. This one process payment because it does not have body, and here abstract is also optional. You can use, it's not a mandatory thing, it's optional. And also another method we have refund, and we have one concrete method print receipt, and it's a default method. Actually this default method is a concrete method, and also a static method is concrete method, and one more thing is a private. So these are the new features in Java. It came long back, means it was introduced in Java 9, and now it's a part of all other version, means onward whatever release came, they are part of that release. So interface can have default method, static method, and private concrete method, but also have abstract method. And actually it has some purpose, like if this is a default means that thing is that why Java has default, static, and private methods. So the interviewer generally ask the question related to default, static, and private. So just I am giving high level overview. Suppose if you want some common implementation for all other classes, so to not repeat the thing in multiple classes, you can declare one default method, and under that you can provide the common implementation for all other classes. Suppose this payment gateway has 5 subclasses, and there are some common logic like sending message. Okay, so sending message or printing receipt, something like that. So these are the common functionality of all subclasses. So that thing we can mention in interface, so that all other class will just use that without repeating the thing. And it is a instance method basically. So object, it belongs to object. And here is also similar, like a default method is a static, and you know that a static method does not belong to object. So if you want any common functionality for all other subclasses which will not part of object but should be available for all other classes, then we can have a static method in interface. And similarly for internal usage, you can also declare private method. And you know that any method, if you mark private, then it cannot be used outside of that class or interface. So it's for internal usage. Like in here interface, like this method validate amount is used internally under this default method print receipt. So this is for internal things, means this method will be used under this interface only. And another interface method I have also declared here that. So these are the things, and we have also provided the implementation. And so let's run this program. You can see here this is working fine. So you should focus on these things, new especially new things like default method, a static method, and private method, as well as by default interface. By default it have variable, but all are a constant, means public, static, final. So an interface cannot have constructors. So these are the important aspects of interfaces. So friend, I hope you understood the things very well, and I hope you will prepare for interview related to interface. So thank you, thanks for now. We will meet in the next session.